All right. Hello, everybody. Everybody's me. Who's you? Let's see if YouTube actually kicks in here. Wow. I go live and it's 10 milliseconds. There it is. All right. So, welcome to my YouTube show. Show what? Like 47? Something like that. So, if you're watching it live or you're just coming in, thank you very much for watching. If you're watching it later on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. And like, subscribe, put on the notification, leave me a comment, do all those things that YouTube likes to see from people that put live streams or videos, whatever you want to call them, up on YouTube. And if you like it, if you're a subscriber, tell your friends. I'm up to like 74 subscribers. You know what would be sweet would be to have 75. You know what would be even better? Ooh, maybe 100. That would be cool. 100 would be sweet, but 75 is the next goal. So we're at 74. Tell a friend, bribe a friend. I run out of money, gift cards, Burger King coupons. I've run out of them all. That's how I got 74. So tell somebody, find somebody. All right, so this, I don't know why, this just struck me the other day that, I watch Survivor. I have been watching the TV show Survivor on CBS. Wednesdays at, I guess it's 8. I don't know, maybe 9. It's when it comes on. Watch it when it comes on. So anyway, and I've had the show, I think when I very first started it, it was still on the air. But I've never talked about the show on live show or any show, video for that matter. So, this is Monday. This is not when I should be doing it. I should be doing it on Thursdays. And I think I'm going to work into that. But, so I missed Wednesday was I saw it. But I didn't make this plan. So, sometimes these plans are in their infancy. And sometimes they never grow past that until it's too late. So, but anyway, Wednesday was the premiere of the new season 44. I watched it. Made plans to do a show on the music guest or the band. Call them a band loosely. It's just the guys that I work with that we normally get on, and 4 of us, we do things. And we built a song, and we were going to do the Polish song last Thursday. And Landon couldn't make it, so I just got on with Ryan and beat him up a little bit on the show. He's a good sport. And so we talked about D&D, building characters and some different things. That's the reason I'm doing my Survivor. I called it a review, but I guess it's a recap. Because I'm not going to review the whole season. Shit, it's just been one show, right? So I guess a recap. So I'm going to do this, but eventually I'll get it into Thursday night. It's kind of what I'm thinking if I don't have anything else going on. Because it comes on Wednesday. Thursdays would be good because I might remember some. So I had to go back, jot down a few things that were kind of stuck out in my mind about the show. And then, so if it was on Thursdays, that would help me out. I could remember better. But anyway, so this is the first. It won't be the last, just because sometimes the things that happen on Survivor just don't make any sense to me. So it might help to talk about them. But anyway, I'm looking at this average time to render. That's 11 milliseconds. I'm in the caution, which means that probably, I don't know why, the stream is going to be all glitchy and spiky, and sometimes it freezes and hiccups and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I can see it. I don't know why. I have no idea why. It does really good. It was really good until I went live. Uh, and you say, well, it was because you went live. Well, the only thing the live part of it introduces is the internet, I think, in my mind. Because I run the software, I run the camera, it's producing the preview and the program, what's going to show on the program the whole time. And then when I click start broadcast, then it opens it up and makes that link with YouTube, and the magic happens. So there's Cleo. Hey, Cleo. So it's at 14 milliseconds now. It just really irks me that it does that, and I can't really figure out why. I guess my first step would be buy a graphics card, find another graphics card. There's Robert. Hey, Robert. And see if that helps. So I could close YouTube, but I'm not watching it on you. I am right now because I want to see how terrible it's looking. So let me close. Well, I can't close it. If I close it, my chat goes away, and it's so slow in this OBS software that so Ryan's here. Close it. You close it. Close it. Close it. Like I said, I would close it, but then the chat goes away, and the chat in the OBS is like, I don't know, for some reason it just seems not nearly as good or as timely as what I see on the YouTube. But let's close it, see what happens. So I closed it, and it dropped it for a minute, for a second. Now it's bouncing around about 7, which is still way too much. And there's 12. Let me reset it back. So, okay. Tonight's show, it's Survivor. And I don't think anybody where I work watches it but me. So, I hate that for you all because it's really good. So, if you've never watched Survivor, it's been on 44 seasons. And I think there's 2 seasons a year. So, it's been on like 20-some years. And that's just really hard for me to wrap my mind around. I didn't really watch the first one. I've gone back and watched bits and pieces of it, but I didn't watch the first season. But after that, me and my wife started watching it, and have watched it pretty much ever since. Our kids watched it when we figured out that it was semi-suitable. Back in the early days, from my standpoint, it was semi-suitable for kids because, and they still do. They just, if somebody runs around naked with the butt crack hanging out or something, they fuzz it out. But I don't know. It depends on your raising your kids, what style you want, anything. But anyway, the characters, the show, it's become a little more. I won't say rough. I guess at the first they really did do. I always thought that was probably the best. Some of the first ones, because they didn't really give them anything. I mean, in my mind, the ones in Africa and the ones they did in Australia, and they used to do them in different locations, were the best ones. Because they didn't give them flint, they didn't give them a stockpile of rice to begin with. They didn't really give them anything. You had to boil the water that you were going to drink. Okay, And you'd have to go back. Like I said, if you looked at my little intro, my little, I wouldn't say intro, my post on Facebook, post on YouTube, those things. I'm not an expert. I have watched seasons since I said like the first one, so I've watched them all. I can barely tell you who got voted off Wednesday night. So I don't keep track of all that. I remember general things about them, and I just remember Africa and Australia being extremely difficult physically because they didn't, you could go back and look to see, when they started giving them flint so they could build fire. I remember there was I think his name was Ronnie or Rudy or something. He was at the time one of the oldest players of Survivor, and he was in his 70s. And it got to the point where you had to boil water to drink it to make it safe to drink. They couldn't start a fire, and I can't remember where they were at that time, but they couldn't start a fire. They couldn't get one going, and everybody was dehydrated, and they were cramping up, and they were all kind of feeling really sick. They couldn't do anything, lay around. And he said, "To hell with it," and drank some sifted pond water or whatever. And we're talking about how dangerous that was and how everything. It didn't kill him, or it didn't make him sick. And then, if you watch Survivor, then if let's say you don't have very first day, you don't have a way to make fire. If you end up losing the challenge and go to tribal council, one of the things they give you at tribal council is a torch, right? And they're saying dip your torch in the fire because they have a big campfire. In this game, fire represents your life. If your fire goes out, then they kick you out of the game, so on and so forth. So if you go to tribal council the first time, I think in the old days, you dipped it in there, you took fire. When you left tribal council, you didn't get voted out, you left tribal council, you carried your torch with you. And I think they went back and carried them all the way back and started a campfire with their torches. And I think that was one of the first ways, kind of a loophole around not having a flint to make fire. If you didn't have fire and you went to tribal council, you kind of got it by default. But that means you had to keep it burning all the time. And even if you were able to make fire, you still had to keep it going. Like if you made it through, rubbing sticks together, or making a bow and rolling it, making friction fire in some way. I've watched them try for hours and hours, and 3 and 4 people do a bow with a string trying to make fire, or rubbing sticks on a board to make fire. It's all friction and never getting it. But if you get it that way, you spend 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, maybe longer, 2 days trying to make fire, and you get it going, you cannot let it burn out. You cannot let those coals die. You've got to continuously feed that thing. Because like I said, the first you had to boil your water, and in the first ones, they didn't give you rice. You caught snails. I've seen them eat mice on Survivor. It's changed. The cast on every episode have become more and more diverse, good or bad. That's just the way it is. And they became. See, I don't know how long it's been since Clell made the comment. I know he watches, but we talked about, I like to have it on YouTube because I don't see all of Clell's comment. There we go. They don't do cool stuff like they used to, like food challenges and survival skill challenges and all that stuff. Fire represents your life in the tribe. So I just, get off this software thing. If they don't like it, change it, right? Go back to StreamYard or whatever. When StreamYard has its place. See, right now it's 14 milliseconds, 12 milliseconds. So when I closed YouTube, it did drop significantly, and now it's bumped its way. It's bumped its way back up. But anyway, so Survivor. One thing that I did try, Ryan, is I noticed when I set this up in YouTube, I went down there and picked ultra low latency. I had it just on low latency, and I was hoping that I would see a better response between the time when somebody typed it and then the time that I would see it. So now Robert says they looked like they were survivors at the end of the show. I know they look like uh, Captain Caruso, whatever. They look rough, and some of them still do. A lot of times they still do, but I know it sounds like an old fogey going, back in the good old days. And they've done different things. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm sure there's people out there that could tell you in season 1 through, 5 they did blah, and from 5 to 7 they tried and used blah, and then from, you know what I mean? So gave them no rice, give them rice, let them earn rice, let them trade rice, all those kind of things. Yep. So, and they did do those strange challenges. I've seen on Survivor where they did a challenge, and I think it was in Africa, because I can't think of any other place they would do this. They mixed cow blood with milk, and you drank it. And they didn't kill the cow. And so these native people did this as a, I don't know, ritual. All right, somebody says they're trying to call. Who's calling? I've been getting on my Google some, believe it or not, I know it's hard to believe, I've been getting fake calls, bogus calls. So is one of you guys trying to call? I could read the number out. It's if you recognize it. But if you're trying to call, I'll set it up here and answer it. I mean, I've got it running. Clell, you trying to call? Try it again. Let's see if we can get you on here. I had it set up. I thought I did. You know how long it's been since, son of a biscuit eater, how long it's been since I've used that thing? All right, let me see. It's not ringing. Ring-a-ding-a-ding. Oh, there it goes. All right, so answer this. Let me know if you can hear him. Hello? Now, are you there? Okay. So, let's see. Can anybody hear him in the chat? Say something. Okay. Right. Ron says no. Let's see what we can do here. Desktop audio. How about now? Ryan, can you hear him now? Say something, Clell. No, you're not caller number 10. I am the grand prize. You get to talk to me. Can you hear that? Roger. Yes. I hear him very faintly. He's like playing through my speakers. All right, hold on. Now try it. Say something.
Okay. Hello. Somebody, I see where Ryan just posted. Said that he can hear very faintly, like I'm playing through speakers. Your speakers. Let me turn my speakers off.
Okay, Ryan says that's better. I had to turn
couldn't.
up the slide volume here on my little
Okay.
hickey do.
Well, I went ahead and turned my speakers off so there wouldn't be feedback.
Okay. Says better. Let's turn you up just a tad
Okay.
more. So is that still? Can you say something?
You're sounding good on my end. Ryan said it could be a little louder.
Let's see. It could be a little louder.
It could be a
All
little
right.
louder, maybe.
So that's putting you into the yellow.
There you go.
Okay.
That's the ticket.
All right. So did you watch Wednesday?
I watched. Well, most of it. I didn't get to see who got voted off. It was like a 2-hour show, and I had to
Right.
leave.
You had to go to
But
bed, right?
yeah, the Bruce guy that got hurt or got sick, and they had to evacuate him. I watched up until then, which that was fairly early in the show. But I'm still trying to sort out, the ones that seem to be strong together. Of course, Blankenship guy, he's kind of a nerdy dude that's going to do well with that female. She's kind of a lot like him. So, and I can't think of her name. Is it Heidi? Maybe. They're going to
Heidi.
pair well together. I think. Yeah, I think. But I'm still the other little guy, Carson. He's just like the Harry Potter dude. I think he's probably going to be the sneaky one. He seems to be a life study into the game, so
Right.
it'll be interesting to see how he plays out.
Yeah, he was the NASA. He's a NASA student or studying to be a NASA
Yeah.
engineer or something like that. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't. When I looked at him first, I said, "Man, that's Harry Potter." I mean,
I
truly.
did
I mean,
too.
he really is. So what I've done. Let's see. Let me. I know you won't be able to hear. Of course, you hear me talking, so that's all that matters. But let me find the cast because I believe it or not, I tried to do a little prep work. What are you doing? Get out of my face. All right, so let's make this go. All right, so here's the cast, and they broke them down into tribes. And I don't know, like I talked about, they do different things at different ones. Sometimes the tribes are already made. Sometimes the tribes are picked on the spot. Uh, it's just
Yeah,
really
and it seems
different.
what they've done in this one, they've picked the tribes for them, which I liked it back when they competed or had team captains already, they drew straws or whatever, and you got what you got on day
Right,
one.
right,
You kind of by draw, and then you find out 4 episodes later that you definitely made the wrong choices, and you don't find that out till later. But now I guess they got to keep it fresh and change it up or something.
right. Well, they just try so many different things. So the tribe that I've got on there now, it's up on the screen, uh, is the one that ended up going to tribal council, and it just freaking fell apart in my book. It just it I don't know, man. It's just crazy. So if anybody that doesn't watch it, there's 18 players this season. They broke them up into 3 different tribes, and uh, of course this is one tribe. This guy, you can read up on their bios, but this guy, he says he's a security specialist. The Brandon Cotton, he's a former NFL player, right? So I've made some notes. The thing that happened with him just blew my mind. So then on the next tribe, uh, here's Bruce. Okay, so this is the one very first off the beach. They started doing this, I don't know, a few seasons ago, where they just get off the boat. Jeff says hi to them, and then boom, they go right into a challenge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bruce, that's the guy that, and I'm going to put it lightly, bumped his head. Okay. And when he started out, I could tell it was going to be trouble because he was diving. under or trying to dive under the barriers. And so if you didn't see it, they're in the beach. They've got to crawl, low crawl. They're supposed to low crawl under this net and through this mud hole and all this stuff. Well, he
Yeah,
dives under what is it, a log or something, the first one?
yeah, and my thing is on the log, and I was yelling, not just figuratively, but I was thinking they're crawling underneath those logs, and none of them except the girl, shoot, I see Helen maybe. She's the only one that spun around backwards and kept her face out of the mud.
Yeah.
So, she was using skills right off the bat. But Bruce, I mean, I'm with you. I can tell as soon as he got off the boat that he comes off tough, but he's gonna be one of the weak ones right off the bat.
Yeah. But when he hit his head, I know it rang his bell. It really did. And he finished it, finished the thing, and that was good. And I don't understand. This is one of the things you just love to see more of. Would be why didn't he? When Jeff said, are you okay? He could have said, man, my head's killing me. Could I get in the ocean and just rinse this stuff off of me? Because he's
Yeah,
covered in mud. His blood, head wounds or scalp wounds bleed profusely, especially when they're on the front of your head and they're coming down in your eyes. Get in the ocean, cool off. That always makes you feel better, seems like, and wash up. But it seems like either he didn't ask or Jeff told him, no, you can't. But he stood there in baking sun, and that's had to make him even feel worse and get sicker and sicker until you know, they brought the medical people in. But that was just boom right off the bat, and he was able to carry on for a little while. But yeah, Robert was talking about this is the Harry Potter guy here. I mean, and he's also the what do they call him here? Uh, Carson 20, youngest in the season, NASA engineering student from Rome, Georgia. Really smart. Then the third tribe, this guy, the guy in the middle and the lower, the black guy here, is a surgical podiatrist or podiatrist surgeon. When we first saw him, he looked like he was in his daggone, early 20s. But let's see. Josh Widener, surgical podiatrist. All right. He's 34. He doesn't have a stomach. We read up on his bio. He was the one that was supposed to not live past he was 5 years old. And
right. Yeah.
yeah, he had some kind of disease. He survived that. Some kind of treatment went haywire somehow. He got stomach cancer or something. Anyway, they removed his stomach. How could you go on Survivor knowing you're going to be eating rice and fish and just coconuts every day and think you can maintain your health? I just don't. Without a stomach, man, you just. Did they go in there thinking I don't care if I die, or did they go in there thinking, Survivor, they'll take care of me. I won't die. They'll not. They can't let anybody die. You
Well,
know.
and two, I want to think that some of the, I guess, part of being there is, hey, it's a free trip to Fiji,
Oh yeah.
and regardless of how it turns out, I mean, once they're there on day one, they're there for the endurance because they can't leave the show
Yeah.
until it's over. So I don't know what they get to do when they're off camera, they're out of the game or whatever. But man, just making it there is a trip. But you're right. They of course pass their medical backgrounds and things
Right.
to qualify for the show. And the guy that you're talking about that has the physical challenges early in life, and now he's there knowing what kind of environment he's going to be in. And touching on what you said earlier, they feed them a lot better now than early days when they had to scavenge for food and
Right.
almost like the other survival show where they do it naked. They have to eat like fish guts and whatever they can find.
Right.
Well, now, it's a whole lot different. It's become more of the strategy game than survival,
Right.
which, they kind of tweaked it over the years, and it's wound up what it is. It's
Yeah.
still not bad, though.
Right. Well, I mean, it's just like I said, they try different things, and I notice now, it's not 40 days; it's like 29 days or something.
Right.
So they've sped it up, and that's the reason you get off the boat, and the first thing you do is you have a challenge, and it just you hit and go. But Ron wants to know, why does Josh Weiner plan to lie about his profession? I don't know. It hasn't touched on that yet. I haven't remember him saying. I mean, I see what you're saying here in his bio. Who plans to lie about his profession? I could give you maybe a couple of reasons. The first one is same reason the guy that used to be a former NFL player is not, like, I don't think, telling these people that he is, because there's a thought process that if you make a lot of money, there's no need for you to win the money. So it kind of
Yeah,
puts a
and
little,
you gotta
huh?
you got to figure too, what you're reading here is post filming. So what they say in the show, looks like the first guy, talking about, his professional career and stuff, being a pro athlete and all that. That's not anything you really want to brag about. Starting out early, especially on the show, because you're going to be an automatic target. But it's like Brandon. He's a former NFL fullback, and I'm sure a very wealthy man. So, yeah, why would they want to give him the $1 million?
Right. And then a lot of times they don't want them to know, because it might be that most of the time it's either policemen. They don't want people to know the policeman, because the record of the policeman being on the
Right,
show, they don't
right.
last the first 2 or 3 weeks. They ended up getting voted out. And if they lie about it and they're good about it, they can make it all the way to the end. Uh, but usually it's because they feel like they make a lot of money, or they're somewhat famous, maybe not in survivor land, but in like pro sports, or maybe in their particular field. Uh, so maybe that's why he planned on lying about it. I don't, I don't know, because I haven't seen anything in the show saying why, or that he even has. Because a lot of times, they don't cover any of that. Like, I just knew, and I didn't read a lot of the stuff before. I knew Brandon was NFL, because in his secret interview that he had with the producers, he told it, but he wasn't telling people in his tribe, that he was NFL. He was listed as a security specialist in his, in his, I don't know, bio or whatever. But
Yeah,
yeah, he almost. So the first 2 days, the survivor, they had 3 medical calls, which is, I think, unheard of. Uh, the guy that bumped his head was the first one. Bruce got his head challenged, and he was able to play the rest of the day. But then that night, it caught up with him. He got sick, and I'm sure he suffered a concussion. He got sick, and they had to take him out of the game. And then,
well, I mean, do you think they took him out really as a precaution, or did he just, like, at the end of the day, was like, screw this, I'm out, and
no,
just said, okay, I need to leave?
because right now, after that, they don't, they keep this pretty close, and I'm really surprised over the years that they've kept it this secretive. But he has already been offered to come back on another season.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah.
yeah, so if he quit, they wouldn't make that offer. you know. And they would say, I've seen people just say, forget it, Jeff, man, this is just way too much. Take me out. And then, he will tell everybody, hey, they gave up, they quit, they just, tapped out, whatever you want to call it. But I think his blood pressure, went down. He's had a terrible headache, was nauseous. So I guess all the signs probably of a concussion.
Yeah, and you can't fake blood pressure. I mean, they did read his
No,
vitals on the show. It was like, 130, which is not bad, over 110, which is not over. Actually, yeah, 110, which is not good. So you can't really fake that.
all right. So the Ratu tribe, Ratu tribe, whatever, however you say that name. This was the one that got beat up pretty good because, you know, this crazy guy down here in the bottom, Matthew, is a barbershop owner. And of course, everybody, even at this age, they've watched it for years because I've watched it for years. And they're just so excited to be there. But for some reason, this guy, Matthew, decided he was going to climb like a coral column, a
Yes,
huge
I
rock
saw that.
at low tide, and he fell. I mean, I just dislocated his shoulder, cut up his hand, and put this big old gash on his foot. Luckily, he landed, I guess, in a pool of water and was able to somehow get his shoulder back into place, but it was damaged, so he had to wear a sling. He set at the challenge where they really needed him because that's where the Brandon guy exerted himself so much that he was I think, on the verge of like heat exhaustion, dehydrated. And I told my wife, I said, what I can't believe is NFL, you practice long and hard, that he wouldn't realize I need to drink as much water and then more than that to stay hydrated in this. Physically exerting myself. It's super duper hot. I don't have some water dude running around going drink, 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 drink every 5 minutes. He should have known better. I think he should have realized I need to drink a lot of water. And they give it to him now. They have a water jug and they go to the well and just pull out water. So.
Okay, Milo, I'm gonna jump off and give somebody else a chance to call in. But yeah, I'm listening and agree 100%.
All right. Yep. All right. See you. Thanks for calling, man. Appreciate it. So, as an NFL player, I would have expected him to have his head in the game a little bit more. All right. But, like I said, I don't know a lot about NFL, but I do know that there's people running around making sure that, you are hydrated and you have, you're staying up on your water. They're taking breaks. They're pouring water over their heads. They're really taking care of those guys in the NFL. And so maybe he didn't realize because there wasn't anybody there to prompt him. But these people lost the challenge. They had to go to tribal council where somebody was voted out. And Brandon, he had good and bad luck. He got an advantage, an idol, which protected him if he played it at tribal council, meaning nobody could vote him out, but everybody in the tribe knew about it. So they were gunning for him. Matthew and Brandon had worked together to haul a bunch of coconuts. That's a whole nother discussion in the beginning. But in order to get a flint to make fire, they had to do a challenge, and they picked the physical challenge, and they had to drag a bag full of coconuts across the beach for 4 hours. It took them 4 hours to do all this in the sun. Anyway, and that was before Matthew got hurt. So they were gunning for Brandon, and Matthew was injured, so he was worried that they were going to vote him out because he was injured. The girl here, Maddie, she wanted to flush the idol, meaning she wanted to make Brandon play it. It was a big conspiracy. Everybody was going to follow along, and and a lot of times, like at tribal council, it fell apart for them. It fell apart for her. People panicked. Is it Lauren? No. Okay. Jamie, this girl here, she's a yoga instructor apparently. For whatever reason, buddy, she freaked out and got paranoid. Her name, she was like sitting pretty, But for some reason, she got super paranoid. And there's a thing they call a shot in the dark. And I know you've heard the expression, well, let's just take a shot in the dark. I mean, it might work, it might not. So, when you go to tribal council and you think you're in trouble, you think that they're going to be voting for you, and you don't have a secret advantage, you don't have a way to protect yourself, then you can play your shot in the dark. And basically what it is I trade my ability to vote, that tribal council, like I give up my voting ballot, and I take a chance on pulling a, it's a parchment, pulling a piece of paper out of the hat that gives me protection or it doesn't give me protection. So you've got a 1 in 6 chance because there's 6 scrolls in the bag, and one of them means you're safe, and the other 5 means you're not safe. So that's the reason they call it a shot in the dark. So for whatever reason, she played her shot in the dark. Jamie played her shot in the dark. She didn't need to. Matthew played his shot in the dark, and he didn't really need to either. He had an idol, and he played it smartly. He played it because they were trying to get him. And he voted for Maddie, this girl here, because she was gunning for him. So with one vote, because these 2 people couldn't vote. If you're watching me on the screen, Jamie here, she couldn't vote. Matthew couldn't vote because they played the shot in the dark. All right. So he's not going to vote for himself. So everybody voted for him, but he had the idol he played it. That means the votes for him didn't count. So he voted for her and got her out. So, and that's I won't say the funny thing is, when they go to this tribal council, it just falls apart. And one of the things about Survivor, other than, there's a lot of pretty girls to look at, apparently there's a lot of handsome men to look at, there's straight people, there's gay people, there's barbershop owners, there's yoga instructors, there's all kinds of people they have. And they force them into making these quick decisions with people they've only known 12 hours, 15 hours, 24 hours, whatever it might be. And it's a pretty wild theory, but it's fun to watch. And I don't guess, unless you played the game, you wouldn't really know if that's, really like that, as you're seeing it on TV. The NFL player, said this is the most physical, grueling thing that he's ever done, and he's practiced and played and done all that stuff. And this was just the first couple of days. So, but anyway, if you don't watch it one time. Watch it a couple of times. And now's a good time to watch it just because it's very fresh. It's just getting started. And it wouldn't be hard to catch up. This girl here, Carolyn, she's a drug counselor. It's mean for me to say, but man, she's out there. Either she's putting on a really good act, and I don't know how to call it other than the kind of ditzy, kind of just off the cuff, crazy about certain things. Anything that she thinks comes out her mouth, it just rolls out. Anyway, this guy, they call him Yam Yam. Yamil Oroko is a salon owner. So I don't know. That one guy's a barbershop owner. He listed as a barbershop owner, and then this guy's a salon owner. Maybe he does women, men too, as a salon, beauty salon probably. But anyway, he's from Puerto Rico. So the big guy in the middle here, he's a Brooklyn firefighter. And like I said, this guy was not supposed to live past 5. Security software engineer Matt. The other ones are, tech investor, research coordinator, engineer manager. So, but anyway, watch it. It's kind of fun. Go back and look at some of the old seasons if you want to. But anyway, that was a recap of the first show. And like I said, if you're just tuning in, go back and watch the whole show. My show, not Survivor. If you want to, go back and watch Survivor. But watch this episode, this show about my recap of season 44 of the first show. Like, subscribe to the channel. Like I said before, I'm at 74 subscribers on YouTube. Tell somebody, one body, 5 bodies, I'd like to be at 75. Just one more. And they say it's good to set goals, so I'd like to try for 100, maybe. So tell everybody, subscribe, turn the notification bells on, like, comment, do all those things. And I think, if I understand YouTube right, that puts my videos or my channel out there a little bit higher in the recommended or the reviews or the search engine, whatever it is. So, but anyway, I appreciate all you guys coming and listen to me ramble about Survivor. And the first one, I want to try to do it again, but we got some D&D to do. We got a song to listen to. Landon was talking to me about that today. So I think Thursday we're going to do the song review. Listen to that. And then we're all got to work on our sheets to do our characters and get those to rhyme. I guess that's what we're going to do. Fill them out, get them to you. Secret. I think we're doing this in secret, aren't we, Ryan? If you're still out there in YouTube land. So not everybody knows what everybody's going to be. Just kind of find out when the time comes. We might end up with, 5 beards or 4 beards or bearded beards. Hairless bearded. Anyway, I appreciate you guys coming around, hanging out. I guess that's it. Go to that form I made and submit it. Gotcha. Go to that form he made and submit it. All right. Thanks again. Thursday. It's going to better be song. Got to find out about this armadillo love, how that turned out. All right, everybody. Bye-bye. Dancing phalanges across the screen. What is this? I don't know, but here comes another one. It's a spider on a mirror. That's what that's supposed to be. All right. Bye.